Planet listeners. This is Eric Peterson, quarantining from Salt Lake City. And today I have the honor of being joined by DES ROCS. How you doing, Des?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Where are you quarantining from today?
New York City.
Wow, so you really are quarantining then.
Oh, yeah. Making the best of a couple 100 square feet, and that's about it.
Yeah. I mean, that's enough to drive you stir crazy.
Oh, yeah. There's no beautiful mountain range outside my door, for sure.
So how have things been going since the shit hit the fan?
It's been a crazy couple of months. I think there's been a lot of reflection and a lot of crazy art made over this period of time. But everybody's in the same boat, and we're all getting through it together.
Yeah. And there's a lot of people either renewing their vows or finding divorce attorneys.
Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, I'm in a very happy relationship, so I don't have to, I'm not on the dark side of that yet.
Yes. So what have you been doing to keep busy during the time?
Man, I'm always busy, man. I'm always going 100 miles an hour. I have been making a ton of records. I've been building out a new studio in Brooklyn, and I've just been dreaming big about all the next steps and all the things I want to achieve. Even though there's no shows going on for a while, there's still a big, crazy show in my head that I'm building towards, and I'll spend my whole life building towards that show. So it's full speed ahead, no matter what.
I love the sound of that when you say there's a giant show inside your head. I love that because that just means that there's thought going on and it's not just stagnant.
Oh no, I'm not a stagnant kind of person. I don't think I stopped moving since the day I was born. I'm always about building things and creating things and moving around and constantly challenging what I can make and what it can look like and what it could feel like and sound like. So I'm always going somewhere.
Well, you just released a couple of singles, I Know and Wayne. Tell us a little bit about those singles and the direction that DES ROCS is heading to.
Yeah, I mean, Wayne and I Know kind of really represent an evolution of the sound. I've been putting out records now for about 2 years, and I really just am always looking for what's next and always looking to challenge the sound. I could make a million songs that all sound the same, but that's not worth contributing to the genre of rock music and pushing the genre forward. So Wayne and I Know are really kind of statement records in where I want to push things and how hard I can make them and how out there I can make them and how uncomfortable I can make other people feel listening to them.
Nice. I like that. So describe to our listeners a little bit about your sound. And in addition to that, tell us a little bit about who's influenced you over the years.
Yeah, my sound is a combination of a lot of things. And I think above all, my sound is very hard and very emotional. I'm extremely influenced by some of the greatest singers and melodic voices of all time, like Roy Orbison and Elvis. I'm also immensely inspired by the grandiose energy of artists like Queen. I'm inspired by the eccentricity of artists like the Talking Heads. And it all kind of filters down into my DNA and comes out through a very modern lens of production that I just kind of get as weird on as I possibly can. And that's really who I am in a nutshell.
It's interesting because you say Elvis is one of your influences, and when I listen to the song Wayne, I can almost hear an Elvis type vibe, and it's almost like if Elvis would have discovered punk back in his day, what it would have sounded like.
Yeah, and that's so cool, man. I love shit like that. I love the idea of taking that kind of vocal style and delivery, which is very much like ingrained in who I am, and bringing it to like the realm of punk or hard rock or metal or alternative, whatever the hell you want to call it these days.
Yeah, I mean, it all goes back into a rock sound. You know what I mean? It ventures out from there, but it all comes back down to rock and roll to me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So everybody, you do a lot of experimenting, and I love that in mixing things up. Would it be fair to say that that's what you want to do? You don't want things to stay the same.
No, I think any artist in any genre who just wants to sound one way forever is not contributing to music or art. To make a carbon copy of things that already exist, or even worse, to try and emulate people from the past, it's just my nightmare, to be honest. I think a lot of people refer to like classic rock and like getting back to classic rock. But what you kind of fail to realize is that classic rock was the newest, dopest, most innovative shit when it came out. It was not classic. It's only classic today.
Exactly.
And that those same artists were doing the craziest fucking spin on blues and black music from the 50s. You know what I mean? That was like this crazy reinterpretation of it. And that's what I'm all about, man, just continuing that legacy of pushing. And I think, that's so integral to everything that DES ROCS stands for.
Yeah, and you mentioned that you think about like when the Beatles came to America and they got here and their sound was so different, and I can remember hearing parents complaining that there was the devil's music and all that stuff, and that's now called classic. It's
man, everything that is classic today was heretical at the time.
Yeah, which is great. So do you when you make an album and then you change your sound, do you worry about losing fans? I mean, on the flip side, you might gain fans too.
Yeah, I mean, I don't let that kind of stuff guide the art, to be honest. Yeah. I think people who are fans of DES ROCS are along for a ride, and they understand that what I want to do artistically is really a marathon, and maybe fucking album 3 will be a polka album. I don't know. But at the end of the day, it's really, DES ROCS is an energy, and it's a vibe, and all the records will have the same vibe because they're coming from my soul, regardless of what box somebody else puts them into genre-wise.
Yeah. So you would just as soon just be under the umbrella of rock and roll and not be subcategorized into anything then?
No, I hate subcategories. I mean, I hate categories in general, especially when as a producer and an artist, every single sound in the universe is at your fingertips.
Yeah.
The only reasons artists historically sounded one way or another is because of actual physical limitations, but we don't have that anymore. So why play by any rules? I don't think there's any rules in music, and I don't intend to abide by any if there are.
That's exactly true, because if the rules, and that's the classic thing about rock and roll is the rules are meant to be broken.
Yeah. I mean, you can't tell me that if, like, Freddie Mercury was making music today and he was, 19 years old, that he would just squarely be playing on a piano and using electric guitar. Like, there's no way.
No.
He would want to get weird. He would want to make weird feelings and emotions and sounds and experiment,
So when you're making music, is the sound dictated by what's going on in your life at the moment?
Sometimes yes, sometimes no. Really, it's just kind of anything, anywhere at any time. I never really know where a record's going to go until it's already going. And I just kind of let the energy guide me of where it wants to go.
Okay. That's a good answer. I mean, so essentially the song is not complete until it's recorded and released.
Oh, yeah, totally. I think a song is never done until it's out, and I can't physically change it.
But then that changes when you go to a live setting.
Oh, totally. Like, the song gets to have a second life live, and I can always tinker with parts and melodies and arrangements, which to me is a lot of fun.
Because I think back to some of the artists that I've listened to, and sometimes they hate to play some of their most popular hits because they've heard them so many times over and over. But then when they play them live, they tweak them a little bit, and they love it again.
Yeah, I mean, to each their own, I guess. Some artists are going to hate their own songs after a while. Some won't. But yeah, I understand. Like, I can't relate to what it's like to be like 40 years from now playing the same song. I just can't imagine what that feeling is or how I'll possibly feel at that time.
And then when you're making music, do you like to tell a story, or do you like to leave it a little vague so the listener can insert their own story?
It's both, really. Some of my songs are a lot more literal, and some of my songs are not. I love when I see like DMs and tweets and stuff about people telling me what they think songs are about or what lyrics mean. And I think that's really special that they can take on a meaning like that. I mean, as a fan myself, there is nothing worse than when I fall in love with a song and then I find out that it means absolutely nothing later on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the singer's on a mission. So I'm always walking that tightrope. Fortunately for me, every song is intensely personal, so I don't have to worry about letting anyone down with that. But yeah, I try to leave it a little bit more open-ended, actually.
What is one of your favorite stories / songs that you've written?
I have a song called Hold On that I don't know if I'm ever going to release it, but I've played it live a few times, and maybe I'll release it next year or never, I don't know. But that's a song that means a lot to me and tells a pretty personal story.
Yeah, okay. Fair enough. We'll look forward to hearing that, because it obviously is something deeply personal to you. So.
Oh, totally.
Yeah. So as far as like... is the music on an album versus the music live, what can people expect someday, hopefully, when we get to see DES ROCS live?
Well, expect a show that is intense and emotional and a lot of fun, and I hope you laugh, and I hope you cry, and I hope you scream, and I hope you mosh, and I hope you have every kind of reaction you could possibly have to it. And I hope you're able to lose yourself for those 45 minutes to an hour and a half that I'm up there on that stage playing. And I hope it happens sooner rather than later.
Yeah, don't we all? I mean, it's funny because we just all I don't know how you are, but I keep going back and looking at videos of concerts because I'm just like, well, this is all I've got now.
Yeah, it's nostalgic. I mean, the thing is, whenever you're taking a video at a concert, you're like, I'm never going to watch it again. And people are like, hey, put that down. You're never going to watch that. And now it's the first time where, yes, you're going to watch it.
That's true. I never thought of it that way. They always say, enjoy the moment, enjoy the moment. Put your phone away, put your camera away. And now's that time when you really enjoy that moment.
Yeah, you were doing something right. You were stocking up.
Oh, yeah. Man. So the song, I'd love to talk about the song I Know a little bit, because to me, that song is something that I feel like should be like on the soundtrack of a Pulp Fiction kind of a movie.
That's killer.
It's just got it's got that sound. Yeah. What was the vibe and what was all part of making that song?
For I Know?
Yeah.
You know, it's really like kind of rooted in some of the darker sides of my personality. It's a song that I really wanted to push what I could do with the production. I incorporated a lot of hip hop elements and modern trap elements, along with some really heavy, fucked up guitars. And I just really, I don't know, that song is when I got written in like 45 minutes, and it was just kind of a stream of conscious expression of what I was feeling at the time and what I felt like other people were going through. And I think that record kind of landed at a time when it had a heightened sense of impact, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. And when it comes to writing, you said it took like 45 minutes to write it. Do you have a more inspirational time to write songs? Is there a time that's more inspirational to you? Or?
It really comes at all times. Often as I'm just about to fall asleep or as I just wake up is a time where I really get like an idea that I'll either spend the whole day chasing if it's in the morning, which I prefer to be in the morning,
yeah,
or work that night, and then I'll spend the whole night chasing it, and then I'm screwed for the next day, and that kicks off a pretty vicious circle that I hate of not sleeping and working on stuff. But yeah, so that's my usual time.
When you're writing, does the music usually come first and then the lyrics, or do you have a set pattern that you follow?
It's really all of the above. Like I just have phrases written down on my phone that I just kind of are always just keeping there and looking at and thinking how I can put into a song. And then sometimes I'll just make like a really fun beat or a really fun track. I'll just scream something over it, and I'm like, wow, that really meant something. There's a reason why I screamed that word. And then that one word kicks off an entire idea for a song.
Yeah. I mean, that's a great way to do it too. And the nice thing is with the cell phones and as powerful as they are today, you can pretty much do anything at the touch of a cell phone.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, and then as far as like some of your other songs, like I love the video for Living Proof. That's an amazing video.
Oh, thank you.
What was the concept for that video?
The concept was about rebirth and overcoming the odds. And Living Proof is a really personally intense record, and it has resonated with fans in a really special way. And I wanted a video that kind of embodied the rebirth that song signifies.
Because when I watched the video and you see the people getting reborn again, it's almost like you can almost picture did something happen to these people and they're being reborn?
Yeah, absolutely. And also, just on a personal side note, I just thought it was absolutely insane that anybody would go in the East River and touch that water because it's disgusting. So the fact that I was able to dunk people in there was just like insane.
Yeah. Because and then the painting on the face was very symbolic, and I loved all of that and how it transformed into a almost an animated, animated colors and stuff like that.
Yeah, it was a really fun visualizer and just like a really good representation of what that song means.
That's interesting. And then I go to like a song like "Let Me Live, Let Me Die," and when I hear that song, this is just me personally, I just I close my eyes and I get this visual of you driving through the desert, and you pull up and you're in a 70s sedan, and you pull up to this old saloon, and it's like a dust kicking up, and then you pull this your guitar case out of the trunk, and then you go in and you play in this old bar with all these people.
Oh, that's killer, man. Yeah, I think above all, like I want the music to be visual. I want you to have this sort of cinematic experience I'm listening to it. So I'm happy to hear that.
And that's what it did to me, because I was just like, wow, I could just picture this. And so I was like, oh man, I almost want to write this down, because it just gives me this feeling of that what I just described.
Oh, that's so cool.
And so what's the inspiration behind that song, since I love it so much?
That song was very similar to I Know, where it just poured out in like an hour, like fully done. And I was just really fed up with trying to get my project off the ground and get my music heard and all the industry bullshit. This was in the very beginning. Uh-huh. And I got to my studio in Brooklyn. I was just fucking let me live or just let me die. Like let me do what I want to do or let me be dead. And I just kind of exclaimed that. And I was like, wow, that really hits me a certain way. And I wrote the song around it.
I love that. Because for me, that's very, it's very, for my life, it just seems very appropriate. Let me live or let me die. So. Yeah.
Like, I want to do what I want to do, or I don't want to do anything at all.
Exactly.
That's how it felt.
So yeah. My last question for you is, can you give me a song by DES ROCS, by title or by content, that you would say best describes the state of the world as we know it right now?
I know, without a doubt.
Really? Okay. Yeah.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of a fun question for me, because I love to hear what people have to say. There's some people take it as a direct, like the earth spiraling out of control, and then some people like to see it as a moving forward into new beginnings.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah.
No, that's a good answer.
I mean, but I wish it was a happier song. I do.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And the thing is you're right like I said, you're right in New York, so you're right in the epicenter of, you know, the shittiest of the shit.
Yeah, it's been a crazy place to live. It always is a crazy place to live and be from, but especially the last few months have been interesting.
And it's almost, I can only imagine what it's like to have almost a post-apocalyptic scene when, as you look outside and you don't see much going on and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, New York is a city that's defined by how close people are together and how you have kind of all walks of life bumping into each other. And for the first time in my lifetime, that's not here anymore.
Yeah.
So it's strange to have that core character trait kind of evaporate from the city.
Yeah, yeah, I can only imagine. So, and for us out west, I mean, we have so much space and nothing in between that it's I can't even fathom the idea.
Right. Yeah. It's whenever I'm out there, it just is such a different feeling for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, Des, I appreciate your time, and I look forward to hearing more from you in the future and seeing more of where your inspiration takes you, because who knows where it's going to go, and that's the best part about it. So,
thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, and everybody go check out your new songs, Wayne and I Know, and thanks again for your time, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. Have a good one.
You too.